Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of our number one go-to real estate channel. This season, we call it a new season, we have a new place at 𝐿𝐼𝐻. So shout out to 𝐿𝐼𝐻 for lending us the studio. Of course, if anyone needs to have any ID recommendations or any consultation, you can head out to 𝐿𝐼𝐻's link, which we will attach in the main box. Okay, now without further ado, let's begin on our analysis for LyndenWoods. It's been a while. Okay, so LyndenWoods District 5, located, so developed by Capitaland, 343 units, 2-bedroom all the way to 4 bedrooms. This one is going to be a leasehold product by Capitaland, just right beside 𝐿𝐼𝐻. So this product is actually located at where the previous Jayden Showflat was lah. So we've been on the Showflat. What do you guys think? Maybe start with Charlene first. What do you think of the LyndenWoods Showflat?
Just the Showflat itself.
Just the Showflat itself.
I thought it was quite interesting. It felt like a night of. I think the Capitaland definitely put in a lot of effort into trying to create a very interesting concept for LyndenWoods. I think because of the location also, there's a lot of greenery, so they try and incorporate that to really emphasize that's what you're gonna get if you were to make a purchase over there. So I think Showflat wise, I'm quite impressed overall. I think a lot of thought was being put into it. Yeah.
Amanda?
It reminded a bit like Jayden Showflat to me. But just more green. Yeah. And I agree with Charlene that I feel that there's a lot of thought that was being put into the entire Showflat experience that is not like many that we have seen in the recent months.
I thought the project was very interesting also. It felt like an experience. But I also feel the similarities for Jayden and here, because it's the same developer. But one thing I like to point out is that this land for the longest time has always been a blue zoning in the master plan, which means it's a mixed business and commercial. Then this is the first plot that the Capitaland has converted into residential, which also means that this land does not have any land price, because when they acquired the land was way long ago already, right? So this time we couldn't really tell like a break even, but we do take in comparison. But PSF wise, I personally think it will be around 2000.
Stress.
Maybe 25 to maybe 25. What do you think? Maybe Amanda, what do you think? PSF wise?
PSF as in terms of what I think developer will be launching.
You're launching, correct.
I think probably in the 2425 range.
2425. Ja?
Yeah, I think maybe the lower floors, maybe some of them could be like a 24.
Yeah.
But I think average should be 2526 lah.
Okay, I think because recently there's also a news where Media Circle, the land parcel B, was awarded with no bidders at all. So should consumers be worried about District 5 itself if there is a land that has no bidders? Sha?
I think that for the Media Circle, right, I although yes, we are all in District 5, but I think there's quite a distinct separation between where LyndenWoods is or where Blossoms, the Hill is, and versus Bloomsbury and the other parcel. There had no bidders basically. And it all boils down to what are the amenities around the area, because I think even though yes, District 5, we are very near to the MBFC area, but I think we are still in a region where it's still more targeted towards the mass market, which then amenities comes into a very big play. It's very important. And I think Bloomsbury is still in the very, very early stages of its transformation to get all these amenities out by the government. So I think things over there may move a little slower. But LyndenWoods, we already have the MRT that's very near us. We have food and all that's within very close proximity. So in that sense, and we also have school. Yeah, we also have the school. So I think in that sense, it's a much safer entry point, in my opinion. Or like if you want a faster track to your exit, I think this one potentially may have maybe a better option lah.
Okay, Amanda?
I mean, on the topic of the new plot at Media Circle not receiving any new bids, of course, one of the speculation that we have is that perhaps developer may not be that confident of the area over there. That's one. Another thought that I have is it could well be that developer is really just waiting things out in that, now government has been releasing quite many plots of land in the recent years. So perhaps the developer are really just weighing out on which one to go into, because I mean, as a developer, there's only a limited set of resources that I have from my investor. So they do have to pick their poison lah.
Okay, I personally think regarding the no bid, it's because the launch of the no bid was during the tariff session or so. So it was a period where everyone was very tense, right? Then, of course, other than that, I think developers in Singapore, most of the developers has already acquired everything possible. For example, CDL has got Norwood Grand, Ori, I can't remember some other projects on hand, but even for example, Kingsford had Chuan Park, the Hill at One North, One Marina, and then Lentor Garden. Then even for Guaco, you're at the River Green area. Even for Wing Tai, you're looking at Lake Gardens and River Green. So I felt that at this moment, a lot of developers, like, they couldn't have like 10 lands to bid, right? So they always have to work within their case. So I felt that at that moment, every developer in Singapore, most of the developers in Singapore has already been stretched already. Okay, then also my next question to all of you is, we always talk about District 5, then people always talk about, agents always talk about transformation. Okay, so for the 2023, 2022, there's always been talks about Lentor transformation, right? Then it's always about Jurong transformation, second CBD. Now, how does this District 5 One North transformation compare to these two other transformation? Maybe I start with Amanda first.
If I can use two words to describe District 5 transformation, I would describe it as it's in a unique position. So why I say so is because as compared to Jurong Lentor transformation, where the district is technically we are building something out of nothing from scratch. Whereas District 5 is in a unique position where transformation is happening in a location that many of us, many Singaporeans are already familiar with. So District 5, we are talking about, District 5 is very big, right? We are talking about Buona Vista, Clementi area, where it's already in a position where there are already many residents staying there and being very familiar with the area. So to me, that's something that is very exciting. It's also not hard to give buyers confidence in the district itself.
Okay, Shah, what do you think of the transformation?
I feel that, for most transformation in Singapore, right, it's always we build the residential portion first, then we fill it up with amenities, right? But for here, I feel it's the opposite. Because the government has always put One North as like the Silicon Valley, which we really are, right? There is so many tech firms, they're all here, and most of them are even subsidized by the government, right? So there's a lot of incentive for all these startups to be inside. And then we have malls, we have even every single commercial on the first floor, second floor. Usually they have shops as well, they have commercial shops. So I think it's very different because in a sense that we can see that there are already human traffic in One North. We just don't have the residential portion. So I think that the growth here could, to me, like, it feels much faster. It could be much faster than other kind of transformation that you have to wait for amenities. Because here we have amenities, we just don't have the human, the residential portion.
I think District 5 is like a fast forward Jurong. Because Jurong, we know that second CBD, it is something that will take, I would say, maybe within the next 10 years, earliest, 5 to 10 years. But I felt that for District 5, whenever we look into projects around this area, because like what Charlie mentioned, the commercial aspects of things are already in Mediapolis, Fusionopolis, Metropolis, and my schools and my other commercial units, my big companies, right? So I would really go to say that as long as I purchase, my rental would be immediate already. So it's like a way faster process. Then of course I'm RCR. So compared to the two other transformation, I'm RCR. Generally, if I head anywhere downwards, I have the Queenstown side of things. I have the Alexander sort of thing. So this is where I know my HDB was sold for 1.7 million recently also. So I feel this district is really very safe. I feel fundamentally it ticks a lot of boxes lah. Okay, but of course, if I compare within the district, I have other units as well. I got Bloomsbury, I got the Hill at One North. I still got Blossoms, but Blossoms sold out, left 4-bedroom already.
You have Alta.
I have Alta also. Okay, so in comparison, this project compared to Bloomsbury, because Bloomsbury first day we sold about 20%. As of right now, it's about 30% sold. How do you think it will fare against Bloomsbury? What should the buyers that went to Bloomsbury have, and then when they're coming to LyndenWoods, like what do you think should drive their decision to choose between Bloomsbury or even LyndenWoods? I start with Charlene first.
I think like just from a very surface perspective, if a buyer were to come in, I think the main difference is that LyndenWoods you get schools, you get a school radius. Bloomsbury you don't. You definitely get faster access to your food or your transportation, all that, because Bloomsbury is really in one corner along Media Circle. But I think the downside it's gonna be because when I was doing Blossoms, actually I met quite a few, right, where they are the dual income, no kids, right? So they actually prioritize quite heavily on tranquility or like just it being quiet. So if you really prioritize in being quiet, right, then I think Bloomsbury is a much better option since you don't need the school radius anyway. But I think for mass market, I think the driving point will still be the schools and the accessibility to amenities here. Yeah, because in One North, no matter how you put it, it's supposed to be a car light zone, right? So that puts quite heavy emphasis on a lot of the consumers here wanting to make sure that at least they have a walking distance to some sort of public transportation. Yeah, so I think that's going to be the selling point of LyndenWoods.
Okay, Amanda?
I think the decision point between choosing between Blooms as well as LyndenWoods, it's very different. I would say that if you were to buy Blooms, it's very likely that you won't buy Linden. It's because the needs that it serves, it's very different. So Bloomsbury is positioned in a point where the price point is very attractive. It is at the price floor of the entire District 5 if we are talking about new launches. So in that perspective, I would think that there is safety in the price that it is offering. So from an investor point of view, it is a good choice. That's in terms of Bloomsbury. And whereas for LyndenWoods, I would say it might be more for, ownstayers who are prioritizing amenities a lot more, being able to walk to MRT as a key factor, then that might draw that crowd in.
Hi everyone, if you love what you're seeing, if you love our analysis and you have any questions, just reach out to our socials. And if you do want to support us and watch more videos like this, do like, share and subscribe. See you soon. Okay, the biggest question is, I think the biggest deciding factor for LyndenWoods is this really within the 1 km radius?
How about we bet?
I thought you did some calculation.
I did some calculation and I'm very sure I can so far the developers didn't want to commit, but when I'm comparing projects like Lentor Hills, I mean I'm comparing other projects like Nava Grove, I myself Jason Chan own self belief is that as long as my boundary of my school radius hits one of the units or one of the stacks of LyndenWoods or any other project, then ultimately the whole project will be in 1 km. That is what I believe. And so far for Lentor Hills, there is another example where the dual key isn't within 1 km, but it still ultimately fall within. Even for Nava, Block 40 also fall within. So I feel that LyndenWoods, when I did the calculation of 1 km, it will be within 1 km of Fairfield, which I feel is the most important deciding point. So is it within 1 km, Amanda, Charlene?
I didn't do the calculation. I got an engineer to do the calculation for me.
Your husband, okay.
And he said that it's for sure within 1 km.
Okay, he said, so don't ask.
You go to him.
Okay, Shah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think based on what has happened previously with all the new plots, whereby the government really do end up just allowing every single unit to be within the 1 kilometer, I think this one stands a very high chance.
Correct. It just nice cuts into Block 69. Okay, so don't quote us. I'm just saying that if I'm a buyer and I have, or we are the buyer, or we are in the capacity to purchase a unit, then we have hopes of it being a 1 km within Fairfield, then we would go for it. Okay, this is what I believe. But with or without Fairfield, I still believe LyndenWoods will be a good enough investment project. Okay.
I think the question that we have to ask as investors, right, is that what if LyndenWoods is not within 1 km? Is it still a good buy?
I think for me, it falls back into the PSF. Okay, when I'm looking at Blooms, right, I take back the 2.5 for LyndenWoods. I think it's going to be 2.6, 2.7. Okay.
Bloomsbury is averaging at about 2.473.
2.473, and then okay, of course, one is post-harmonized, one is pre-harmonized. Because LyndenWoods is still pre. I think it's going to be 2.6 average for LyndenWoods because of school radius, because of MRT. I personally feel so. If for me there will be a cut-off point lah. I think if it hits 2.8, then I'm not gonna get LyndenWoods lah. Bloomsbury still serves a way better, more attractive choice, and because LyndenWoods is gonna be quite high, 20 over stories, right? So I feel that it falls back into the entry price. If I can get my max a 2.7 pre-harmonized PSF for LyndenWoods, I would still be okay. That's for me. Sure.
I think actually based on, because we don't have kids, so I don't know how is it like, but because I've spoken to a few clients who are staying in the Commonwealth area, Ghim Moh area, and to them, right, a 2 km radius is more than enough for them to feel secure in having their kids in that school. Yeah, so I don't think it is a deal breaker if it's not within 1 km.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's really not many developments out there that have 1 km to this school anyway. Yeah, you're talking about private lah. Yeah.
Okay, so we now go into the floor plan. Okay, I personally feel that LyndenWoods floor plan, the way they did it was very smart. Why? Is because it's mainly 2 blocks, 69 and 71, but instead of all 8 units one stack, right, they kind of differentiate into 2 different segments, and then they create a point block within 2 different segments, but still within 1 block. Okay, refer to the photo for better illustration. So because of this design, right, every unit have a window ventilation in the kitchen, in the bathroom, and I thought this was very smart. I thought this was very, 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 very smart. It reminds me a bit of A at BT, but A at BT also have window, but then no balcony. But I felt that for floor plan wise, the developers did very well for this product. What do you think about floor plans, Charlene?
Yeah, I agree. As in, just as a whole, right, the fact that I can get every unit as a point block is very rare in today's market. So that's a very, very big selling point in the future. Floor plans wise, mostly I still think it's a bit more traditional. There's nothing like out of the norm with the floor plans, but they are designed very efficiently lah. I agree.
Amanda?
One thing that I like about how it's being built, of course, one is that all the units, including the 2 bed plus 1 bath, is a corner unit. That's one. Another thing that stood out to me was the ability to be able to hack certain walls in the unit itself. Yeah, which I feel that can be a rarity nowadays. Yeah.
So I felt that LyndenWoods, when I look at all the characteristics wise, I feel that after Ori, this will be the next sell out product this year. I feel LyndenWoods is going to be, I think the only issue with LyndenWoods for me is 300 per unit is too little already. 2 liter, they should have done more lah. I mean, I feel lah.
2 liter.
2 liter. I like it.
I want more.
I feel this size is just nice.
Yeah, it's just nice.
How about 500? For our last segment, we have to choose between investment on Ownstay. Okay, so this time we're not gonna simultaneously shout out our
as
points.
A buyer on our own. Yeah, in our own name.
Now very sensitive. Everybody tread lightly. Okay, so maybe how about I start first? Investment on Ownstay, then you'll follow the flow. Okay, so for LyndenWoods, I personally would buy for investment. Okay, why not Ownstay? For me, because I feel that numbers wise for here it really makes a lot of sense. I always believe in, like what Charlene always mentioned, we put our money where the government puts his. We know that District 5 is going to be a transformation. I think it's going to be amazing. On top of that, when I compare to the other new plots coming in District 5, with Fairfield, without Fairfield, the one with Fairfield will still be a lot more emotional reasons for future resale buyers to come into. Not only that, my exit buyers, it's literally one stop away from me, Queenstown, Red Hill. My $1 million HDB buyers are all there as well. I felt it was going to be an amazing exit plan for me. Then if I want to rent out to my tenants where I have professionals, I have companies, I have this big companies like Grab, Apple, Razer, all these big companies, 50,000 over workers within my cluster, and then I'm beside the MRT station, I just felt that numbers wise, it makes zero sense for me to not earn. Right? But only concern for me would be the PSF. Because I'm looking at Bloom's PSFs, I'm looking at about 2425 post-harmonized PSF. I feel that LyndenWoods have the opportunity to go high for 27, even 28. That's why I felt that by doing that, I'd rather get Bloomsbury. Because the PSF would be a very big concern. And for this project, there isn't like a break-even point. We cannot estimate their PSF.
Yeah.
But the only way I can derive off is looking at my every other PSFs within the area. I feel that LyndenWoods, the positioning of LyndenWoods is better, so developers have the opportunity to price higher. Okay, why I wouldn't choose for Ownstay is because my own preference. I love the location where it's very central, it's very easy to go work, it's very easy to town area and all that lah. I just felt like I just feels a bit weird for me to come downstairs and then everyone is working. You know, I'm beside Geno, right? It's called Geno, right?
Yeah.
I'm beside Shopee. I'm beside these big commercial hubs. For me, I just feel it's like I'm always working, you know? So it's a personal thing. But I'm sure there are buyers that don't mind this. Okay, so this is why I would choose investment a bit more than Ownstay. Okay, for Amanda, which you can choose both.
I would definitely choose for investment.
Okay.
Yeah, investment because I mean, in terms of the attribute wise, it's something that a lot of investors are looking at: proximity to MRT, proximity to amenities. And this is on the assumption that LyndenWoods were to launch at 2.4 to 2.5K PSF. So another reason why I think that this project is good for investment, it's by comparing with the surrounding new developments. So if I were to look at the hill at One North, in terms of quantum, let's say for a 3-bedder, we are looking at about 2.4 mil at about 2,400 per square feet. So in terms of attributes that are similar, in terms of attribute-wise, LyndenWoods and The Hill are quite similar. So I would think that that's a fair price. And if we are comparing LyndenWoods and Bloomsbury, of course, there will be some price disparity because Bloomsbury do not have as much amenities and it's not within walking distance to MRT. But even then, the premium for LyndenWoods is probably less than 10%. So I would think that that's worth of go in terms of investment. Yeah.
Okay.
So not for Ownstay because if you all know me long enough, I just don't like the sight of seeing business park. Yeah, I rather be seeing shopping malls. It's a little bit more lively. I feel like I'm motivated to, live that lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas if I'm looking at everyone working, I just feel like it can be quite depressing. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's personal preference.
Personal preference.
Personal preference.
Everybody very sensitive nowadays. Okay, Shah.
Yeah, I think for investment, it'll be a good choice, especially if, let's say, my budget only allows me to reach up to 2 bedrooms or so. Because, like we felt the burn before, So, I think if I have a limited budget, then definitely my money will go into One North area. Be it whether it's going to be Linden, it's going to be The Hill, or it's going to be Bloomsbury, right? And partially it's also because we have such strong tenant pools over there, and it's not just like the offices. Yep. It's also the schools, right? So we have a lot of very young students that they come from overseas to study in NUS, which we are actually quite near. And in NUS, the surrounding areas, you actually don't really have a lot of choices in terms of the newer private estates. So this, I feel that it could be a very good option, because I have some of the NUS students, when they come, right, they can look all the way up to Ulu Pandan, Trizon, Nine.
Yeah.
And that's a much further travelling time compared to if they were to just come into One North.
Yeah.
So I think it opens up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities in terms of your rental in that aspect. And I think it's safe. Very safe to enter. Yeah. For my own stay, actually I don't mind. I wouldn't mind.
So both of you will be staying in different locations, I suppose.
No, because yes, well, I see a lot of buildings, but in the weekends, One North is very quiet.
True.
So I love it. Yeah, and they are also rejuvenating like the little parks all around One North. So in time to come, I think the environment there would be very, very nice. So I wouldn't mind actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good that you said something else.
I honestly wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, LyndenWoods right now, preview. We're looking. The Showflat is ready. So we're looking around end June to launch. So of course, if you guys have any questions, you guys want to come and visit the Showflat, just hit us up. Our numbers are shown as well as in the description box. And of course, for all our viewers, thank you for all the support. If you guys want to know more about which product to go for, or you guys are in a property crunch, you need some advice, just hit us up. We will be happy to assist all of you in your property matters. Okay. If not, thank you all for watching. See you guys soon. Bye bye.